Welcome back to The Grind for a look at Aftermath Season, which is coming up very soon. And the preview, if you have not seen it, is going to be on the War Dragons media pages, as this video will have been posted after the start of that live stream that they do their preview on. But in this video, we're going to talk about the details of the Mythic dragons for this season, as well as the legendary dragons that will be released at the start of the season, but that will be in a separate video. So first of all, we are going to talk about Jaalkan. Hopefully you'll see the stream and find out how that's truly pronounced, but that seems like a very interesting name. I think people will probably name him Jaal or Jaal or something like that to make it easier. And he is a mythic ice hunter, and he actually looks pretty sweet in this picture, as well as the spells. So first, his first spell is Prison of Zuul. It's an active white 1 rage spell, allowing the dragon to damage towers in a target area for 15% modified HP and freeze them for 4 seconds. So you'll cast this spell in a certain location and it'll do some damage and freeze them for 4 seconds. So that'll be a more defensive spell than it will be an offensive spell, but it will help work the health down a bit so you can burst it with ammo. Next, we have Counter Strike, an active white 1 rage spell with a 1.5 second cooldown, and this will cloak you for 1 second, and when you uncloak, it'll deal a burst of, 0 damage, so it doesn't deal damage when you uncloak, but it allows you to gain 200% increased breath damage for 2.5 seconds, which is very nice. And I am assuming that the breath damage bonus will go away if you cast the cloak again. Otherwise, you technically could multiply stack this up, but I don't think that's how it's going to work. I think if you cloak again, it'll cancel the damage bonus from the first spell. And this spell also restores ammo. So you can use this for a quick ammo refresh, as well as to dodge incoming projectiles or super shots or whatever it may be, or for a 1 second break to allow some extra rage and ammo. The ammo will refill on the initial cast, so it won't really help you with ammo regen. And then the next one will be Unfailing Spirit. This is a passive, and the dragon gets a breath damage and rage generation increase just passively. So the damage increase is 100% more than the base hunter damage, so he has basically 2 times the damage most hunters do, and the rage increase is at 0.21 rage per second instead of the normal 0.15 rage per second that most hunters get. So this is very nice because all damages struggle with rage, and all dragons struggle with rage, and all hunters could obviously benefit from more breath damage, especially when you have added breath damage bonus on top of that. The next spell we have is a cycling spell, and it's called Call of Justice and Call of Freedom. So Call of Freedom, now there is a bit of a typo in one of these here, so we will have to point that out shortly. But Call of Freedom is an active white 1 rage spell with a 1 second cooldown, and it will damage towers in a target area for 100 times the dragon's attack power. So I think that's going to be like a one-shot. That's a quite significant increase. And it will heal 15% HP and 0.5 rage on cast. So if you have 1 bar of rage, you basically cast it for half a bar of rage. The next one is Call of Justice, and it's basically the exact same spell, except it will be red and have a 3 second cooldown, but it will heal 20% HP instead of 15, and that's where the typo is. It's actually 20% HP. So ideally what you'll do with the first cast, if the first one is truly white, you'll take out the red mage, so that you can then use the second cast on a tower that was initially protected by the red mage. Now, how you would fly this dragon would be, I think there's probably several ways, but one of the ways that I'm imagining is come around the corner and cast the freeze on the turn, so that it hits the 3 front towers once you face the island, and that will lock them down for 4 seconds. At first, you will unload your ammo on the back 2 hours of that front island, and then cast Counter Strike to dodge the incoming projectiles from the first wave of super shots and damaging shots, and it will refill your ammo as well. And hopefully you'll be able to burn through those 2 back towers before you cloak, and that will give you a full bar of ammo, and the front 3 towers will still be frozen when you come out of that cloak, so then you can use more ammo on those towers to destroy them. And then after that, you'll have Call of Freedom and Call of Justice still. So you can cast the first one at the back towers to take out hopefully 1 or 2 towers, ideally one of the red mage if it's there. And then shortly after that, you'll have Call of Justice again, or as well, in order to take out another tower. And by then, your counter strike will be back off cooldown, so you can then cloak again to dodge any shots that are coming in, as well as refill your ammo, and then destroy the remaining towers there. Now, obviously, we're going to have to see how this all works in reality, especially with defenders and shields going up and super shots coming in fast. But I do think that there is several ways that you can utilize this dragon spell kit for an effective run, and he looks like a lot of fun, and he looks like a very effective dragon, so I'm looking forward to that. And the Prison of Zuul actually doesn't have a cooldown, so you could actually cast it twice, or when you initially come out of your cloak, so cast the freeze, spam down 2 towers, cloak, spam down a couple more towers, and then cast freeze again on the back towers, allowing you more time to manage your Call of Freedom and Call of Justice. And because of the increased rage and the rage that you're gaining back on cast of certain spells, you might be even able to use another Prison of Zuul to slow down the remainder of the flight on the back couple or few towers that remain. And I think with the increased rage that he has, and of course if you throw on some rage runes, I think he'll be able to manage that very nicely. So this dragon looks like he's got a lot of what is needed, especially with that increased breath damage, a couple spells that look like they can one-shot towers, as well as they give health back. So he does have ways to heal back when he does get clipped. So this looks like a very fun and effective hunter to fly. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in action. The next dragon, the next mythic dragon of the season is a mythic dark sorcerer, Kinnarix. And this dragon also seems pretty cool. The first one is a passive Frontline sacrifice. So this isn't a spell that you cast to summon a warrior, which means that once it's dead, it's dead. And it's a little bit disappointing. I don't love that type of spell, but it passively summons a warrior at the start that has 500% of the dragon's base HP. So putting on HP runes and glyphs will not give this summon any extra health. It's based on the base HP of the dragon. It also has 1.8% of the dragon's HP as attack damage, so it will be dealing a little bit of attack and blocking some of the damage that should be coming into you until it dies. It absorbs 50% of the damage received, so that you'll be taking 50% of the damage until you've taken 500% base HP and it dies. Then you'll be taking all of the damage, and it also gives an increased rage by 75%. That's a lot. So while this summon is alive, you'll have a 50% damage reduction and a 75% rage increase. But again, once the summon dies, you lose that bonus. Now the first spell we'll talk about here that you can actually utilize is Opening Salvo. It's an active white 1 rage spell with a 5-second cooldown that damages towers in a small target area for 100 times the dragon's attack. So it'll be like a one-shot spell. And it says small target area, and that makes me concerned that it's really just 1 tower reliably. But if it's 2, this dragon will be much more effective. But at least 1 tower that you can basically decide you want to take out of the picture right away when you face the island. The next one is Barrage. It's a white 2 rage spell that deals 20% of the dragon's modified HP. So if you add runes and glyphs and riders and stuff to get more HP, this will deal more damage. And then the effect bounces to another random nearby tower, and it deals triple damage. So that can be some pretty big damage, and it might one-shot the spell or the tower that it bounces to, but it's random, so you can't pick it, unfortunately. So you'll just target whatever tower first, and it'll probably won't one-shot it, but it'll deal a lot of damage. And then the next tower, hopefully it will one-shot. Plus you have Opening Salvo, so you'll be one-shotting another tower, so that might be 2 out of the picture right away. The next spell is a cycling spell. It is starting with Bulwark, an active blue 1 rage spell with a 2-second cooldown that gives the dragon invincible shield for 3 seconds. When the shield expires, a healing mark is applied to all nearby towers that will restore 14% of the dragon's modified HP once you destroy that tower. So it's a good way to heal, as well as a brief shield. But again, this can be destroyed by shield breaking towers or ice flax. And a blue mage will prevent you from using it. So you'll have to focus on a blue mage first with one of your spells when you face the island. And then after that 2-second cooldown, you can use Overlord's Assault, which is an active white 1 rage spell with a 2-second cooldown as well that makes the dragon fly faster and dodge all non-beam attacks and damages nearby towers for 7% of its modified HP each second for 3 seconds. Now, this sounds pretty similar to Krelos's speed spell, and that worries me a little bit. But also excites me because obviously Krelos is an amazing dragon, and now we're going to get a mythic endgame tier dragon with a speed up spell. We don't know how much faster the dragon is going to fly, but that 3-second period is the same as Krelos's speed spell. And it, again, dodges non-beam towers and deals damage over time. And it's a white spell, only costing 1 rage. The only kicker here is that it has effectively a 4-second cooldown because you have to cast Bulwark first to access it. The other kicker is that Bulwark is a blue spell, so if there are multiple blue mages on an island, that will be a barrier for you to using Overlord's Assault. So that's going to be something that comes into play. So as a defender, you're going to want to protect those blue mages and definitely have a couple of them on the island, on a long island, I guess I should say. But how I would imagine flying Kinnarix is once you face the island, you might want to shoot off your barrage first. And what I would say is maybe depending on the towers you really want destroyed, I would probably start with opening Salvo and take out one of the key towers because you can guarantee which tower that is. And then with Barrage, cast it first on a tower you don't care to destroy right away and hope that it bounces to another one that you do want to destroy right away. So a little bit of randomness in there. And if you can do that very quickly, you might be able to get these spells off before taking much damage. And I would say you probably want to start with opening Salvo on either the Ice Flak or the Blue Mage. And unfortunately, this is where it kind of sucks because you can't take out all the towers you need to in order to allow Bulwark to actually function. But if you at least take out the Blue Mage, you can cast it. And then if it does get disabled or broken, you can still cast Overlord's Assault. If you don't take out the Blue Mage, you're stuck and you can't utilize either of these spells. So I would prioritize the Blue Mage with opening Salvo, take that out of the picture, and that way you can at least use Bulwark, and if it's disabled, broken, whatever, that's fine. Then you can open up Overlord's Assault, and that will give you some protection and help you fly over the troublesome part of the island. And because of the long cooldown on opening Salvo, you might only be able to do 2 times on an island, but Barrage doesn't appear to have a cooldown, but it does have 2 rage. So that's where you're going to be kind of limited by rage with this dragon, because you can't use all the spells and then still have enough rage left. But at least if you need to in a pinch, you can use Barrage twice in a row. If you have the rage, there's just a couple towers left and you need to take them out with Barrage, that's an option if opening Salvo is on cooldown. So this dragon has its issues, but in the right situations, the right scenarios, with that speed spell as well, if it's as fast as Krelos, this dragon could do some big damage. It's just going to be a little bit more challenging to be effective as Krelos was because of the limiting factor of having to use a blue spell first to unlock Overlord's Assault. But this dragon interests me as well, and it's pretty cool looking sorcerer too. So that's pretty much it as far as the mythic dragons. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you're excited for seeing them in action, what you think of the spell sets. And as always, I hope this video was helpful, and I hope to see you in the next video.